Oh, another
No,
interesting
but yes.
statistic is you can see your win rate in every party size. So like,
Solo.
what's your guys'?
Yeah, I
I have the highest
do.
win rate in trio.
I
I
have.
do really, really
Wait,
badly
what's
in
your
five
five?
stacks.
What's your 5 stack win rate?
Mine's honestly not, I don't think it's great. I gotta
Mine's
look at it. Give it a
it's
sec.
my worst. That's why I'm usually hesitant to queue five
It's
stacks. I prefer trios.
if you go to.
My 5 is apparently 100%. I find that hard to believe
Oh,
though.
Well, that's really good then. I was gonna say for me, yeah, my 5 stack win rate is 71%, which I think is really good. So 5 stacking is
oh.
Actually,
trio
wait,
is
that's
sixty
what. Wait.
percent too.
Oh,
My duo is at 80%. It's my best one. I do so bad in five stacks.
I
What's your
do
five
really
stack?
good. I really do. I do really good apparently in duos and 5 stacks
Well, I
apparently.
think the reason five stacks are bad for me is because
What's your
whenever I
five stack,
five stack,
Alieda?
I'm in way higher elo, and so I really struggle.
And apparently, I have
Um,
an 100% win rate with you, Luke.
really? That's
Yep.
nice. Yeah, that's cool. Wait, what is your 5 stack win rate, Alita?
50. It's not good.
The thing is, when I
Yeah.
play Valorant, it requires a high enough level of concentration to where any distraction, no matter how small, or like any type of stress or like real life worry, will just make me play worse. So if like I have a slightly off mental, it's not that I'm tilted, but
Yeah.
it's that I have something in the back of my head that I'm worrying about, and it's taking
Well, I
away
would. Yeah.
from the full. So I feel
I
I
struggle.
mhm.
I think the reason my duo is so high is because most of the time I duo with Chance or Silo,
Mhm.
and they both really understand how I play and how to help me and how to play off me, which I think in five stacks I kind of like. I'm usually in higher elo, and then the fact that I'm struggling gets ignored, and they don't know how to help me type deal. If that makes sense.
I think it's that, but also playing a duelist in 5 stack, not just a duelist, but Reyna, which is the only agent in the game that's 100% based on individual performance, is like playing the game on hard mode. Because think about it like this: if you play a Smokes character in a 5 stack, there's like basically any other character you have some kind of utility to play off of, or like some way to cheese people. When you play in a 5 stack with us and it's like a much higher rated lobby, it's like you need to
Yeah.
be able to perform, or else like especially on Reyna, literally her whole job is kills. Like that's all you do. At least on Jet, you have a dash, you have a get out of jail free card, you can op on her, you have something. On Reyna, it's like you need to be able to click on their heads. If you can't, you'll just like bottom
But it's
frag
not
every
just
game.
it's not that. It's like for example when I play with Chance, he'll tell me where to position myself and stuff like that. It's like I'm very lost. And then
Hmm.
when I'm against a higher elo and I'm lost, I just get one tapped and I'm done.
Yes, it's very punishing to play a
Yeah, and so the
duelist.
second I'm in a five stack without Chance, I'm just done for.
I think you
Well,
also need
Or I
one thing
guess
to also
well
without
then
consider
Silo,
maybe
though.
because
maybe you're a
Silo
little
that
over
but the
reliant on
thing is
him.
Silo that five stack was so tired that he couldn't really help me.
This
But
is
the
the
Well,
whole
thing
thing was he
well,
was
you need
meant
to
to
well, it
coach me
sounds
understand,
like
well.
then you're
Alida.
like always relying on
Yeah, that's
somebody
what I
to
was gonna
like
say.
tell
But
you
they
where to go.
it's not that's not how I mean it. It's just they told me that they would coach me type deal. Like that's why I was queuing comp.
Well, then
Well,
what are you gonna do like when you're playing with other people or by your own?
Well, it won't be them telling me they'll coach me, so it won't
this is
necessarily be
okay.
comparable.
This is the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. And
And
something
I
I,
also
I
think
want
when
you
I
to.
play my own, I probably won't be in plat lobbies, hopefully at least.
Oh yeah, I definitely won't.
This is the thing you have to
Like,
understand, Alida. And this is like goes for any rank regardless. At the end of the day, you can't. And this is I guess it kind of goes for you too, Luke, and for anybody that plays the game. Meshing with someone can't be the reason you win or lose. It simply can't. It's a crutch. Same way people that
It's
only use
true.
options to crutch, like you can't rely on like, oh, I play really well with this person and this is the reason that I'm winning. No,
Yeah,
you
it's
can't do
true.
that because the moment you resign yourself to that situation, you force yourself to be reliant on a duo, on a trio, on a 5 stack. No,
Yes, I
you need
always
to be
bring
able
up
to
this
play.
example. I used to know a girl who was in a relationship with a guy, and she would never solo queue. She'd only ever either 5 stack or play with him. And then like they broke up. She went from plat 3 to like silver 2, bro, and then she just never got to plat again.
yeah, but
Or
I think you also need to understand it's not fun to be a girl that solo queues. Like, genuinely, that's why, like, even Blue very rarely will
so
solo
here's the
queue. Well,
thing.
she has been recently, but
That's
it's
true.
like
That's true. I understand the whole
most
like
girls will not
being a
because
girl
it's
dilemma.
so unpleasant.
The thing is, you can also climb without comms. I know it sounds crazy, but most of my games I actually don't play with comms, and I got to diamond that way. But
Oh, I'm just one of the weird people that overcomes. Honestly,
Yeah,
I
but it's also
understand.
like half the time they can tell you're a girl.
no,
Wait, what do
no,
you
they
mean
can't.
tell?
Yes.
That
No,
Yes.
Alita,
how
I
does that
am
make any
telling you this.
sense?
Alita, I am telling you this as someone who has been playing this game for over over like quadruple the time you've been playing? No. It's
Also
Yes.
across many different games, not just Valorant,
Alida.
but it's
No,
like
but I get
Alida?
called on it all the time before I even speak.
Alida, it's a fucking guess. It's a lucky guess. You want me to tell you why? This is the thing, and I'll give you the statistics of it. Demographically and real and statistically, girls are just not as inherently good as video games at the beginning because they just haven't played them when they were young. They get into it a lot later
Yeah.
in life, but they don't have the experience. So it tends to be that people that are in lower ranks tend to have a higher girl like like pool of players, right? The
Yeah.
higher in the ranks you get, people stop assuming that. 100% people stop assuming that. And I'm telling you this because it used to happen to me. People used to call me a girl, Alida, when I was in bronze.
Are you
yeah,
not?
I've been
People
called a girl too. Like I
assume straight.
remember when I first started playing Valorant, I came from a background of RPGs and Minecraft, so I was always looking at the ground because like usually I'm used to like looking at the ground because I'm like picking up items for my inventory. So I was just always
That's exactly what it was for me as well.
yeah.
It's because I
So
was huge into Minecraft.
I remember like my teammates would be like, "Yo, why is this guy always looking at the ground?" They would laugh at me and shit like that. But basically, I just want to say real quick, I totally understand, Alida. Like, there's definitely a big
Yeah.
problem when it comes to sexism and all that. However, I think using that as like the only excuse to like stopping you from improving is like not a healthy mindset. I'm not saying,
But it's not
like,
an excuse. It's like
okay,
genuinely it
it's
makes me not want to play. Like I think
I
the first time it
I
happened, I was
understand.
playing with Fahad, and it genuinely made me like I didn't play for 2 days after because I was just not having it.
I understand, but like what you have to understand is that there's many women who have reached Radiant on their own, and yes, I know it's not easy, and I know that some games you're gonna have people like that, but I think like it's like any when you have a goal in life and you just always and you hit a roadblock and you like crutch on an excuse every time, I just think it's very unhealthy because no matter what you're doing in life, it's like there's always gonna be some kind of difficulty or some kind of thing like for anything you do. You know what I mean? And I think if you just always use something as an excuse, as a crutch, it's like even if it's very real, it's like the reality of life is that life is unfair, and no matter what you like pursue or do, there's always going to be difficulties, and you have to overcome them. It's just how it is. If you
Okay,
want to reach a
Luke.
goal, in my
Okay,
opinion.
Luke, okay. I kind of agree, I kind of don't. I think the reality of it is, yeah, like there's
It
hardships in
exists.
life,
Don't
that's
get me
very
wrong. I'm
true.
not denying
Like,
it.
yeah, no, and like I know you're not. Like hardships happen, hardships are real. Yeah, like yeah, you can't I guess always use it as an excuse. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be happening in the first place. Do you understand? Like that's one
Oh
thing you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to also
No, I'm not saying
understand,
it's
right?
fair.
Well,
Like
and
what
also
I'm.
like
The
I
other thing
understand
No,
it's
no, no. It
also
is
really easy for
unfair.
you to sit there like as a man in a male-dominated game and go like, because it's very different when you guys get screamed at and be like, "Oh, where are you playing bad? You're an idiot." But it's really different when like a man's screaming at you, telling you he's gonna like rape you and stuff like that. That's like a really different
I understand that.
experience.
I completely understand
And
that. I'm not denying it. I know it's really bad. Trust me, I'm not like denying any of that. That's not what I'm saying. I completely understand that. What I'm saying is like, I mean, it's fine. It's like at the end of the day, it's like if that's enough to like make you give up, then like nobody is forcing you to keep going. You know, like you can just walk away. But if you have a goal and it has difficulties you need to overcome, it's like
but it's not even that I give up. I just prefer not
yeah,
solo queue.
exactly. Then you just don't have to. Then it's fine. It's like
Yeah.
then you don't even have to
Well,
do it. It's no
Alita,
problem.
like we already had this conversation, and like I told you
Yeah.
something similar. Like at the end of the day, like it really is up to you what you want to do with this type of stuff. Like obviously me, Luke, and a bunch of a bunch of us play ranked because we want to get better at the game, and that's the way we want to do it. To be honest, you can generally get better playing unrated. It's a possibility. The only reason that people play ranked is because it's competitive and it gives you a way to track how well you're doing. Realistically, though, you don't need it. And on the other hand, on the girl aspect of things, I generally don't know. I've never been told that I'm gonna be raped or anything like that.
I
I've
have.
never
Oh yeah, I
been
want to say this side note.
I
I
can't.
used to have that all the time. In real life, I ran for 6 years, right? But for the first 3 years of that, I ended up becoming a really good runner. By the way, that got fucking what's it called? College, fucking what's it called when they pay for you?
Scholarship.
I got scholarships for running, right? I got really fucking good, but when I first started, I was so bad. Like I was actually like the worst. Like I remember I went to like a running camp and they made me run with the girls by the way because I was like that slow. Not only that, but
That
I
is a crazy
no no no
statement.
no
That
no
is insane.
Okay, on
no
a
no
side
no
note, if
no
you guys
like the counselors would literally tell me like, oh, do you want to run with the girls because like you're really struggling. And another thing is I actually did get rape comments, and this more so goes along with bullying, but like I ended up actually having, this is like a whole another side tangent, but like I have dealt with like sexual like misconduct and assault in the past in high school, so I know what that feels like, and it's really fucking bad, and it's really annoying. But I pushed through it anyways, and it was not easy. It was really fucking hard. But what I will say is that it is possible. But I know exactly how you feel. At least when it comes to like people, yeah, that like type of thing, a little bit, yeah.
One thing I want to know, it's completely unrelated at all. If you guys tune into Luke's stream, you can see the infinite loop that I created in the stream.
I'm watching it. It's beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
very funny. Anyways, what was I saying? I was saying something. Right. Again, I can't say anything about it. I can't give an opinion on the topic because I haven't really felt
It's
it.
not fair. I know it's not. It's
Eh,
really fucking
And
stupid. Like, I'll
And
and
it's
say
like,
that
also
for
really
sure.
different because a lot of guys have a very like pack mentality, especially when you're solo queuing and you get like a duo or a trio. It's really different.
Hmm. I'll also
yeah,
say that like I have struggled my entire life when it comes to fitting in, or like I get yelled at. I mean, anybody who watches my stream knows that I literally mute my teammates every game. Not every, but like if anybody says anything to me negative, it's like I'll instantly mute them and I'll just forget about it. But yeah, I
Yeah.
totally struggle with like when it comes to getting along with people and being like shouted out. So sure, maybe it's not the same as like being a guy and a girl or that kind of thing, but it's like
Yeah.
as soon as somebody's toxic to me, it's like I will just mute them and I just keep playing anyways. It's not hard. It's fucking difficult. It's annoying, and the comments can be like really bad or racist, even sometimes sexist or whatever. But it's just like I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like if you really want to pursue a goal, it's like it's not fair, but life is never fair in the first place. So it is what it
I mean,
is.
and in the end, I don't want to sacrifice my mental health for like a game because
Yeah,
it's not that
exactly.
important to me.
It's like that's the
And the reason I
choice.
started playing it was not for the competitiveness. It's because Sloan literally forced me to play it. It's for people. So like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna when I'm already going through stuff sacrifice my mental to get yelled at by a bunch of like 16-year-old boys.
Right.
But I think another thing is a lot. I know a lot of girls have the same mental. It's really rough when you're bottom fragging as a girl because it feels like it's playing into like gender roles. I think that's why I got so
Right.
frustrated that one comp game when I was playing just like absolutely horrendously because I put a lot of pressure on myself just because I'm a girl and I'm like I can't bottom frag as a girl type deal.
Yeah, I
It's like
totally
also in
understand
games I
that.
won't calm until I'm doing well.
Right. I will say though, at least in my experience, and maybe Nico, you can say this too, it has been a very, very long time, maybe even over a year since I've ever had like any sexist comments in any of my games, at least my ranked games. I think it also there's a correlation between the lower rank you are, the like less intelligent people are, or the more likely
I
they're
don't
to say sexist things. Because like Nico, how often is it like? I'm curious because maybe your experience is completely different from mine. Do you have it like
I mean the
every game there's a
nastiest men
girl?
I've ran into have been immortal.
Right. But like Nico, how often does it happen to you? Because it hasn't happened to me for at least like
But why
over a
would it
year.
happen
I
to you
think, yeah,
guys?
like I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think
Like
we're
I'm
like
so
in the right
confused.
spot
Oh,
Like
to
I
okay.
feel
say.
like you
Well,
guys
well,
aren't
no, no,
really
no.
in the
Well,
Yeah,
let's assume we're solo queuing. Then there's one other girl. So then there's three other guys, right? It's like, I would say from my experience, it.
Yeah, but how often? Because weren't you just saying you don't get game the girls in your game that often?
Oh no, I do all the time. Even my most recent YouTube
Oh,
video, it was with duo. Or no, 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 they were both solo queue girls, and I'm pretty sure they were both diamond, and one of them bottom fragged, and like the game still went really
but
well, really
also it's
smoothly.
not as common for a man to be nasty if there's two girls on the team. It's usually when it's just one girl.
Well, even then, it's like okay. Well, I'm not saying that's like another excuse, but I can promise you, I played like thousands of games with like single or like hundreds of games with only one girl, and like everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, but I
And
feel like that's also comparing weird statistics because it's like obviously you won't run into it all that much versus me who's a girl and I'm queuing into every single game as a girl.
well,
You know
it's
what I
one.
mean?
I know what you mean. It's like one less guy. Or yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. It's like I mean, it pretty much goes back to my original point, which is yes, it exists. Yes, it's not fair, but like there's bullshit in every aspect in life, and it's like it at the end of the day it comes down to how worth it is you, and like if it's not worth it for you dealing with that hardship, and then it's like perfectly fine. I mean, you don't have to do it. It's fine, like no problem.
I think like, and this is like a completely unrelated note, but I guess a kind of related note. At the end of the day, and like this is a genuine thing. Like it's within your power to do so many things, and like at the end of the day, like one thing I was gonna ask you later, and it was like about that game you were telling us about that you felt like you were like if you're bad at the game, then you're like feeding into those like I guess general
Yeah.
or like gender things. Isn't that feeding into it then anyways? Thinking that way? Because that's exactly what it is as well, isn't it? Why should you have to think that way?
Well, because that's all you get told. It's like literally, I will not have commented on the dog and be like, "Oh, were you a girl?" Like it's
So okay, but hold on. So based on that, then, so what? And I'm giving you a very rough and like example. Let's say, based on that, if I tell you you're great at the video game, you're gonna be great. If I tell you you're gonna be ass, you're gonna be ass. If I tell you you're mediocre, you're gonna be mediocre. Like at the end of the day, whether it's guy or girl, because people have mental issues all across the board, right? Like this isn't necessarily like a he said she said thing. Like people have mental issues all across the board and issues in a bunch of the things all over the place. Is specific, like for example, maybe in Colombia, is people telling me racist things. Do I need to let that affect me?
Oh, same thing. I was bullied my entire high school career, by the way, for being German.
Let me finish. Like, do I need to let that affect me? Do I need to let it affect me that I was called gay and people were homophobic around me all the time and I was like, that was a really big mental health thing for me? Like, is that something that I need to let affect me?
That's not necessarily what it is. I think it's going into a male-dominated area and then performing how you're expected to perform, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's the thing is though, you're putting an expectation on, not because you're a girl, but you're also putting an expectation on a low rank. That's truthfully ridiculous. Everyone's there to learn. You're basically, it's fucking blind leading blind. Like you're listening to people who don't know any better in the first place. And then the fucking Smurf immortals who are in those games for you are literally because they need an ego boost. So you shouldn't be listening to those people in the first place. Because let me tell you honestly, people that are Smurfs to play with their friends never say shit, or very rarely say something. People that Smurf because they want to get an ego boost are the people that you deal with. And they feel like they need to feel better than everyone, so they need to shit on fucking pubs and shitty players. And that's the reality of it. Because that's what it actually is. People who are really toxic that are whatever rank they are, doesn't really matter. It's they need an ego boost. And the easy way that they find that is by shitting on people. I shit on people because they're bad, You can be a guy, you can be a girl. I've said shit to Luke, I've said shit to Kyle, I've said shit to you, man.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily say anything because I'm like, I hate this specific gender or group or anything. If I see something bad, I say something bad. If I see something good, I say something good. You guys have all seen this. If you hit a good shot, I tell you it's a good shot. If you hit a bad shot,
and you're really good with
that. What the fuck are you doing? Right? Me personally, that's my experience. It's people in the game. I think the reality of it is it's a handful of things. It's the gender part, and that's very understandable. It's you're putting false expectations on yourself, and that's a you thing. That's not an us thing. Because at the end of the day, you came into this game with the funny idea that like, oh, people are fucking themselves, they're stupid. You came in with that idea, and you let that continue. None of us told you.
But it's also true.
Is it? Is it? Because you've experienced it an X amount of times. Now I'm gonna ask you again, how many times have you not experienced it? Even when you're cute with us. Because regardless, we're not always here to defend you. A lot of times people don't even say anything, period. And you don't speak either.
I do solo queue a lot.
And again, and that's the thing, right? Like even when we're together, even when you're like, how many times is like genuine ratio? Is it like a 20-80? Is it a 50-50? Like, be very honest with yourself. What is the ratio of what you experience?
I guess it depends what I'm queuing. Swifts, it's very rare, and if I do, it's just like sexualizing. Comp, it does happen a good amount when I'm duo queued or trio. Like it does happen a lot. Unrated, it's not as frequent, but I would say it depends on what mode I'm playing.
But let's just round it all out. Let's just round it all out, all collectively. Entirety of Valorant, how much do you experience do you think in a ratio? 20, 40, whatever, however you want to ratio it.
Like maybe 30-70 or like 40-60.
So you are highlighting 30% of your 100% experience. Like think about it that way. Like do you think like if I told you that like if I example as a hypothetical, if we've never met for some reason like it's or not even with you, let's say with another random girl, I meet a random girl and I highlight 30% of my shittiest qualities. Is that logical? Does that make sense? Like, be honest, because if you think it makes sense, then like I have nothing to say to you. in regards to like, because like, that's your point of view,
I
right?
guess it would depend what they are.
Like,
For the
like as an example, like, does it make sense that like I'm highlighting my shittiest qualities on a first date? You can have shitty qualities. Everyone has shitty qualities.
Well, no,
does
but
that
I
make
think
sense?
the reason I'm hesitant on comp is because literally like 25% of that is comp.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: should that not be more incentive to get better? Because you can get out of it. Plenty of people do really, really well in competitive, and like do really, really well in a bunch of different things. Like,
Yeah.
should that not be incentive for you to do better? That being said, it's if you want to do it and if you want to put the time into this. 'Cause again, you said yourself, you're not gonna sacrifice your mental health for this. I don't think anybody should. That's a ridiculous thing
Yeah.
as well.
But I
But
just
at the
don't
end of
get
the day-
what the issue is with duo queuing. Like I just don't understand the issue
No,
there.
like my thing about it is it becomes a crutch because I experienced it. Because I experienced it where I realized I didn't think I would not queue if it was without somebody, and it was because I was like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna lose if I don't queue with someone.
But
Like
it's not even that I think I'll
mentality.
lose. It's that I don't want to deal with the shit that people are saying. It's
I
not
know,
even
but
that I'm like, oh, I'll
telling you,
lose on my own.
I'm telling you, you're gonna develop a habit. That's what I'm trying to tell
Like
you.
if anything, I play better when I'm without people because people really distract me.
I'm telling you, you're gonna develop that habit.
Yeah, that's why I mute people. I also like play better without distractions. That's why I think you should just mute people. It works really well with me. I play best when I can focus 100%. And
Yeah.
sometimes I mute people not even because like I don't want them to hurt my feelings, but because people say a lot of like useless garbage that just like I don't know, anything that like deviates me from playing the game is just a distraction. So it's like
shit,
just
like
mute
we've done it
everyone
with
and
me.
like it could maybe it'll go well.
Yeah, like shit,
Yeah.
like we've done it with me, and like I don't take offense to it because I'm just kind of like, bro needs to focus, point blank period, right? And like that's also a completely different topic I totally forgot to bring up, and Luke, thank you for reminding me. Why not just avoid it by just muting them?
I'm sorry, I have to go to
should-
bed in like 3 minutes, but it's because I
Okay.
need the comms or else I get really lost.
No, you don't.
Well, isn't that just
Simply put,
another
you're gonna
like
learn.
thing that you need to
Simply put,
learn?
You
Yeah.
need to learn. Yeah, simply put, you need to learn.
Because you can't
That's
always
not-
rely on other
yeah,
people.
that's not a valid excuse. Truthfully, that is really not a valid excuse at all. You can't say you need the comms because you need to learn, because these people don't know anything. These people don't know jack.
It's
fucking
definitely
shit.
harder,
Again,
but it's like
blind leading the blind. So
Yeah,
that's
but
not a
most
valid.
of the time, even when I duo queue, I end up with golds. So then you're saying that your own elo does not know shit, no?
Yes, my only does not, dude. Let me. Nobody.
I just want to
knows
say
shit except for the top 1%.
I think
1%.
also it's very
Truthfully,
rewarding. It's like
no one knows shit.
it's harder. Yes, it's more difficult without comms, but it's very rewarding because it teaches you how to play the game on your own and like being able to play like it's like learning how to be independent in life. It's like moving out. It's like being able to be independent and not rely on others is a very powerful and good thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. It's like overcoming a challenge, right? It's like yes, you won't be able to rely on other people for information as much, but as a result, you'll grow as a person a lot more because of it, and you'll become a lot more aware. And then also in addition, then once you turn comms back on, you might actually be an even better player, and you might even be even more aware than were you before. It's like going to the gym, right? It's like increasing the weights. It can make you a much better, like smarter individual, in my opinion.
I'm gonna let Alieda go to bed. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but
Oh no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm
Alida,
sorry. I needed
have
to
a
go
good
to
night.
bed 2 hours
Sleep
ago.
well. Yeah. Alida, have a good night. Sleep well. But just like I don't know, think about it, or just ignore it completely. You what within your right to do whatever you want.
Okay, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, Alieda.
Yeah. That's tough though. I'm gonna be honest. That really fucking sucks to just deal with that. That's stupid.
Oh wait, what's tough?
The fact that Lee has to deal with that shit. Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
really
for
shouldn't
sure.
happen
It's just like
regardless.
also it's like I think at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like I know that I'm not a girl, but no matter what fun of life it is, you will have difficulties. And it could be gender, it could be sex, it could be gender, it could be race, it could be anything. And this is coming from somebody who was kicked out of his parents' house when he was 17. I could promise you I've been discriminated for years for like pretty much everything you can imagine, like for being a white, as like dumb as that sounds. And I've been bullied for being German. I was basically like in all of high school was just me being bullied and like being called a Nazi all day, like no joke. That's why, fun fact, I don't tell people I'm German, like as a reflex to this day, because like people would just like call me a Nazi all the time, and it was just really fucking annoying. But anyways, it's like also I have experienced discrimination, so like there are many examples. The first one is like race or whatever, being German. The other thing is she mentioned like expectations. It's like I kind of forgot to say this, but I totally understand that. Like having expectations for gender, there's so many expectations for being a man too. Like for anything, right? And for real life, it's like an example I could think of when it comes to like opposite sex and being a man and having expectations to like perform or do something is like I have struggled pretty much my entire life, and like especially since I graduated high school, with being a man and when it comes to dating a woman. And the reason why is because I feel like as a man, or at least in my experience, people have always had expectations that I need to have some high paying job or like go to college and have a degree and have a nice job that isn't minimum wage. It's like I've met so many girls who have like gotten to know me, or like the best example I could think of was I was working at a convention like literally a year or two ago, and one of the people I was working with, it's like she was a really nice girl and we were getting along really well, like we were vibing really well and everything. And then she asked me like when I'm studying, like under the assumption, because like she probably thought I was like intellectual and she expected to me to like be getting like degrees or something and working my way towards like a six-figure job. And then I told her that like I'm not studying, and instantly it's like she just lost all interest in me, like almost like she saw me as just a waste of time. So like in my opinion, in a way, that's a form of discrimination. It's like having an expectation for someone to like do something. So it's like I totally understand, and it's like, but it's like, okay, she had expectations, yes, and then like I didn't meet them or whatever, and then she stopped talking to me. So like did I let that stop me from like doing anything, like pursuing X goal? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, yes, it's unfair, yes, it's sexist, but I didn't stop pursuing what I wanted to pursue just because like some girl gave up on me. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I was trying to say when I said every font in life has some level of bullshit. And like at the end of the day, if you think life is fair, you're just like living in another world. The truth is, everything in life, no matter what goal you have, everything's going to be unfair. There's always going to be like sexist, bullshit, racist. Doesn't matter what it is. It's like it's always going to be there, and it's your choice if it's worth it to you or not to overcome those things and like climb through all the unfairness, even when all odds are stacked against you, when people are humiliating you, discriminating against you, all that. It's like, I mean, every day pretty much I still deal with this because like I don't study, and like to this day I still struggle when it comes to meeting with people because I don't have a college degree. And maybe you do too. I don't know if it's the same degree, but for me I do at least. So it's like you can't let that stop you from living life or pursuing what you want to pursue or the goals you want to reach, you know? It's like there's always going to be an infinite list of excuses, and like there's always going to be bullshit. So it's just how it is, in my opinion. I'm done ranting. So yeah. But I get it. It's like it's not fair and it's really frustrating. But it is what it is. It's like if you can't change it, you just have to accept it. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like my experiences have been like very different in the sense that like, yeah, first discrimination in certain aspects, but in other aspects not, right? Like, I don't know.
There's always discrimination sucks. Like I'm not gonna lie, it sucks, but you can't just live your life in fear because of that thing or let other people stop you. You know, it's just one of those realities. I don't think you could just let everything stop you, no matter how like unfair or bullshit or how much it hurts.
Yeah, I don't know. Like my thing with like Alieda, and that's always the you're only gonna do this if you want to do it. Like simply put, everyone can put as many excuses as they want on anything, but like at the end of the day, you're only gonna do it if you want to do it. And I think like if this is really like an issue that you're struggling with, then that's fine. That's fair. I cannot have nothing to say about that. But if like only you know what you really mean or what you're trying to do with that question, right? Only no one else. So yeah. At the end of the day, a genuine question to her and like serious question to her, like, is this because you think you can't, or is this because you're not sure if you want to, right?
Right. Yeah, 100%. But I know it's not fair. Like, I'm not saying it's not stupid and it's not unfair. Just the reality is like, yeah, it's just gonna be there no matter what, and you shouldn't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. And yeah, it is what it is. It's stupid.
I have the other most of those things. It's like, alright, man.
It's also like, this is like kind of similar. It's not like directly related, but somewhat related. When it comes to like taking or like dealing with pain afflicted by others, especially in the form of words, at the end of the day, it's like words can be painful, but a big part of it also comes down to your mindset. And at the end of the day, it's like you're the one who allows yourself to be like to be hurt by others, you know? It's like if you don't care what other people think, or if you have a very stoic philosophy, and me myself as a person, especially as I'm getting older, it's like I've become more and more stoic. I care less and less about what other people say, and just like stressed out about whatever X outcome in general is just like a good example is like I'm trying to think. I don't know, any form. I remember dealing with this hurdle. It's just trying to remember how exactly I dealt with it when it comes to like dealing with other people's hurtful words. It's like at the end of the day, if you don't allow those words to hurt you in your brain, like you're just invincible. Like if you just have the correct mentality and mindset, it's like you can be the one who decides whether or not they hurt you, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think
no, that's true.
it's like very difficult, but it's why I think you also see like old people who are very good at dealing with this, and like it's why you see a correlation with the older people get, the less they care about what other people say, is because if you just don't care about what people say, it's just like easy. It's like who cares? Doesn't matter. You just keep going. But yeah, it's like yeah. I think the important thing to highlight here is that I'm not denying the fact that these bullshit things exist. It's just that you should never just give up because of something. Like there's always ways to overcome things, you know. It's never just like, oh, you hit X roadblock, you should just give up because like whatever X reason. It's like you shouldn't let that stop you. There's always ways to overcome challenges. It's never just, oh, I hit a challenge, alright, I guess I'll just like give up and never try, and I'll just, or it's like there's always ways to overcome it, I think. But obviously, it's just, the reason why it's kind of silly is because, like, this is a game. So, like, obviously, usually you play a game for fun. So it's like, okay, yeah, you just don't have to if it's not fun. Like, it's fine. It's more so, I guess my advice more so applies to setting, like, goals in life rather than, like, playing Valorant by yourself. But I think some of it still applies, even if it's just, like, playing for fun versus, like, reaching an important life goal or milestone. Also, in a way, I think all things are connected. So, like, if you are able to overcome something in a video game, it may also help you in real life as well. I think it all comes down to growth mentality and mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm probably reading into this way deeper than I am. That's what I sometimes do. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. I don't really judge. I don't really care at the end of the day. This is just my take and my 2 cents. I don't really judge other people and what they do these days, at least not that much. It's like I'm only worried about my life, so other people can think whatever they want, and it's perfectly fine. I wouldn't think any less of them. It's no problem.
Well, and then, like, everyone has their own opinions, and, like, this happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, my experience with games is always gonna be the same thing. It's just like, hey, like I don't think certain things should stop you from playing the game and playing the game the way you want to play it. But I think like again, like if these things are like what's stopping you, then like there's definitely like a lot of things that you can do about it.
Yeah. I think a big part of it comes down to like, just because something is unfair doesn't mean that there isn't a way to overcome it. Like, nobody's saying that any of whatever X reason is unfair. Yes, like, sexism shouldn't exist, like, period, racism shouldn't exist, whatever shouldn't exist. But just because something is unfair, yeah, pretty much what you're saying. I probably sound like a broken record, but, like, it is unfair, it does exist, but that doesn't mean you can't overcome it.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think it's one of those things where, like, and like, I guess going back to the same topic where, like, I guess it's something I didn't really explain or I didn't really say properly, but it's also like, it only comes down to however much the person wants to do it. And like, I also completely understand.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a game.
People
Like,
don't want to do it, and like, also on that same train of thought, like, some people just aren't in it like that, you know. Like, I know you and I really enjoy the competitive aspect of it, but like,
right.
Alieda has stated more than once that this is not her thing. You know, really, I think, which is one thing I do appreciate. I think the way she really does comp is, I think she does definitely enjoy it, but I think partly because she's like, hey man, you know, all my friends are this, but which I really
for
respect.
sure.
I don't know. Like, I think the big thing with like the big thing with like this whole thing is like certain things can't be excuses. I think that you're totally right. Like, you can't make excuses for everything, but I think certain things have the right to be excuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think at the end of the day, like, regardless of the hardships, like, we can sit here and have a fight about who's gone through it more. Like, because like again, you were kicked out of 17, you've gone through a whole bunch of things. I can sit here and be like, oh, like my family, my upbringing, my neighborhood, my immigrants, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can sit here and complain about it as well, and I can sit here and like say like, oh, like, no, like, I'm a better person for it, like 100%. I can sit here and say whatever, right? At the end of the day, though, like, I think it is genuinely and truly also a thing about like, what's it called? I like can't think for a second. I think it's also like partly a thing about just really being like, you know what, like I think everyone goes through something. Everyone has their own little like, I guess, their victim moment, I guess is what I want to say. Like, I've had it. I'm sure you've had it. I'm sure everyone's gone through their thing where they're like, dude, I went through this and it fucking sucked. And I think everyone's gone through it. And I think everyone has the right to, like, complain to that specific thing. Whether it be sexism, racism, I think one thing I will say I disagree with you, and again, you're entitled to your own opinion. But the one thing I will say is also, like, I think people are allowed to have those types of, like, excuses, because I think for everyone it just hits them differently.
Yeah.
And
100%.
one thing I will say, one thing I will say though is I think you're 100% a way tougher person than I am.
I think it just comes down to how much you want something. It's like, the more you want something, the more bullshit you're willing to endure to get it. If it's not that important to you, then it's like, or if there's enough hurdles or difficulties in the way, it's like, yeah, they're definitely hurdles and excuses, but then you just don't have to go for it. It's like, to a human being who wants something more than anything else in the world, it's like they will literally do anything. I mean, take a look at like some of the most successful people in existence. It's like most of the most successful athletes, business people come from poverty or like fucking no parents, like with all odds stacked against them, every single difficulty you could imagine in life. But it's like they wanted X thing bad enough to where like they had every single unfair advantage. Like, it's like playing life on hard mode, but they wanted the thing bad enough, so they went for it anyways. But at the end of the day, it's like, the reason why it's kind of silly is because it's a video game. It's not that serious, if it's not that important to you. But yeah, it just comes down to how important to you it is. It's like, it's definitely a really, like, sexism, I'm sure, I mean, I've dealt with it too. It's a really difficult hurdle to come by or to hop over, and it's like, at the end of the day, if it's not that important to you, you don't have to, like you said, for like, it is an excuse. It's 100% an excuse. It's like, at the end of the day, if that excuse is enough to stop you from reaching your goal, it's like, you don't have to go for it then. It's fine. Like, you don't have to pursue it. If that's a big enough hurdle, you can't overcome it, you don't have to overcome it. It's perfectly fine. It's an 100% like excuse. It's definitely an excuse. Or like, because you were saying, oh, you like disagreed because you said something about excuse, but like, I agree with you, it is an excuse. It just depends on how much you want something, if you're willing to like hurdle over that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think I'm not saying it's
a little different though.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, I don't know, I think it's also just me as a person. I have also, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, most of my childhood, I did have a very good childhood. I lived with a very nice roof over my head. However, for the last, like, I want to say 4 or 5 years, I have been living life in hard mode, and me as a person, I feel like that's why I've been able to grow to the point where there is nothing there's no hurdle big enough, no matter how personal or how hurtful, when it comes to reaching a goal. It's like there's nothing strong enough in the world that will stop me from reaching something if I want it badly enough, if that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, I definitely do think I'm like more hard-headed than most people, but I don't think I'm like invincible. But yeah, I don't know. I think it all just comes to varying degrees of like how much you can take, how much you want something. It's like all of that. It's just a bunch of like different levels, and like some people have more levels than others. Some people want something more than others. It just
Some people are just a higher rank, real.
yeah, exactly. So it just comes down to these different levels of desire or like mental toughness and all that. And like at the end of the day, it's like fine if you're whatever. I don't know. I'm not discriminating against anybody who has any level of like mental strength or desire. It's like I don't think any less of anybody. It's just I don't know. It's just like an equation, a variable. If you're strong enough to endure X challenge, then you will get X goal, and like it's fine if you're not strong enough. It's no problem. It just means you won't get the thing you want, and that's the harsh reality. It's how it is. Like it sucks, but it's the harsh reality. However, I don't think any less of any person that way. Like I don't think of Alieda in any bad light because of that. Is what I'm trying to say. It's like I totally get it. It's not fair. Like, but it's just how it is. It's just like the reality. I don't know. Look at like, yeah, it's not fair. And like I understand her frustration, and like that's why it's like I don't blame her at all. It's just like if you want something, it's like you have to overcome X challenge, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's perfectly fine. Like no worries. I get it. It's not easy. It's hard, especially like depending on how difficult that reason is. It's like I get it. It's fine. Yeah, it's no problem. It's like I still think. Obviously, I don't think any less of a leader or any person who doesn't decide to pursue X goal because of challenges. It's like all good, man. No worries. And in general, that's why I was also saying earlier, I don't judge people in general. I'm a very non-judgmental person. It's like you can live the way your life you want, and I'll still think you're an amazing human being. It's like I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm just here. I only worry about my own life. Do whatever you want. Like I'll still interact with you the same way. It's perfectly fine. No worries. That's why also in general, as a side note, I used to be somebody who offers a lot of advice to people when it comes to anything in life, whether it's like philosophy or reaching X goal. But over the years, I give advice less and less because most people, usually the most difficult advice is like the best advice, and like most people don't want to hear the truth or like what they want to do or what they need to do to overcome like difficulties, right? So it's like I won't bother people about it because I know most people it's like an uncomfortable topic, and like it's no problem. It's like that's why unless you're a very close friend of mine who I really care about and who I really want to see succeed, it's like I won't bother pestering you with like annoying advice or anything. It's like it's no problem. Yeah, all good. Because most people don't want to hear like a lot of truth. It's just how it is, in my opinion.
That's fair as well. Right,
Anyways,
I think I think like again, like that's also very true, and you're well within it, right? I think also, I don't know. You know what? Like I think to end the conversation here, I guess, so we don't like keep going on like tangents and loops.
yeah.
I think what you said there's like definitely truth to it. I think I partially disagree with some things, but again, like you said it yourself, like I'm more than capable of disagreeing with you, and also not fucking hating you, and I'm sure you're more than capable of doing the same.
100%. Yeah.
I think like at the end of the day, like people see things differently, and I think shit happens, and that's okay as well, right?
Yeah,
Shit
of course.
happens. People deal with things differently, and again, like it's the same thing. Like Alieda can more than definitely come out of the conversation we just had with a really good outlook and be like, you know what, no, like I can be fucking radiant if I want to be, and she'll end up being better than us. She can come out of it being like, nah, I don't want to do this shit, and like we also have Wiggy can also, I'm sure both of us also totally respect that. And I think like I guess lastly, like we can also just kind of accept things the way they are, and just kind of be like, all right, cool, like we're gonna do our own thing, you're gonna do our own thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? I mean, I'll accept anything no matter what, and I won't think of anyone anyway, like any less of what decision they make. It's perfectly fine. Like I don't know. I was just like I actually don't care at all. It was just I don't know, we were talking and it's like stating our opinions, so I was just saying mine. But yeah,
Sorry,
of
I don't
course.
want you to feel like you can't communicate your opinion. Sorry, I did want to clarify that. You're more than welcome to say
Oh no,
whatever
it's
you
fine.
feel is right. Just want to clarify that.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I didn't feel that at all. Yeah, all good here. It's just like, I think it's very, very simple. How bad do you want it? How big is the hurdle? Is the goal important enough to where the big hurdle is worth overcoming? If not, no problem. You don't have to overcome the hurdle. You don't get the goal. If you don't want the goal, then you don't have to pursue it. It's perfectly fine, you know? It's all good. It's like, it's the same thing as like wanting to be a millionaire, right? It's like, if you don't want to be a millionaire and it's really hard, it's like, you don't have to be a millionaire. It's no problem. If you want to be a millionaire, it's probably going to be really fucking hard, but if you want it badly enough, who knows, maybe you'll be able to reach it, right? I think it just applies to any goal. It's like, always difficulty, bullshit, hardship, it could be anything. How much do you want it? Yeah, I mean, broken record, you know what I'm going to say. Same thing could be said about harder work. A lot of things.
Yeah.
Anyways, how's your day been, Nico? How's your weekend going so
I was
far?
honestly like, before we got into that conversation, I was genuinely gonna be like, oh dude, I'm gonna play some ranks because you brought it up, and then now I'm just like tired, so I'm just probably not gonna.
Yeah, yeah, we spent a bit of time talking about ranked and like energy in the teams and all that. I like took an extended nap today. I'm not gonna lie, so that's the only reason why I'm up right now. Sleep schedule was fixed for like a week, and now it's about to go to hell again. Oh well, it was nice while it lasted. Are you playing what's it called? Oh no, you're just chilling?
Yes. I'm literally just sitting in the sandbox.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to fucking rocket ride. I can never get it right.
The only thing I hope, or like the other thing, the reason why I'm also as a person more reserved when it comes to my opinions about anything is like, I think I as a person, when it comes to my true opinions, it's like I'm a very no bullshit person, and it's like, I think I'm like not afraid to say the truth or what other people might be afraid of hearing, and I know that people oftentimes don't like hearing certain things even if they're true, so that's why it's like I try to stay more reserved. It's like I hope like what's it called, Alieda didn't like take it personally or anything, and like I didn't mean anything personal, and I just hope that she like, yeah, I hope she's okay, because like yeah, I definitely wasn't trying to be personal or anything. It's just as I am as a person. If you want me to be 100% true and transparent, I will say the truth, and like the truth may not always be pretty, but it is what it is, and it's like, yeah, I think yeah, I just feel like sometimes people take the truth personally, or they might feel like very afraid of it, and yeah, I hope that Alieda isn't like too upset or anything.
I don't think she's upset. I think she's fine. I think she's just listening and obviously getting her input as well. But I think she's fine.
Okay, that's good. Like, I could think of a couple sensitive topics to me where it's like, I know they're true, but they will definitely hurt me. Like, for me, one of the big things is college and education. I have like a rule with my parents, and they know this too, is to never ever talk about college with me ever. And like, because they know it's a sensitive topic to me, even though it's like I know certain truths about college and school, and I know that like X thing is true. It's like definitely one of my weaknesses when it comes to talking about topics, and something I struggle with, and like I can get very emotional over. So they know that's like, I don't know. They just know it's something. So like I know what it's like. I guess what I'm trying to say is I know what it's like when you're sensitive around certain topics or certain things that you don't usually like talking about, and I 100% know what it feels like. So I get it. I get it.
I think like one thing I guess now you bring it up because I'm thinking about it because now that because I thought you were in school. You're not. That's fair. I'm also not in school, by the way. I don't know if that's any, I guess, better sense of comfort. But I'm like, honestly, when you brought up the whole girl thing, I'm like, dude, low-key, when I first started dating my girlfriend, I was just good to tell her that I was going to go to school, and I'm very, like, this is very understanding. Because honestly, I feel like I probably would have been a lot more, like, I guess the way you brought it up, I would have been, like, very, I guess, touched with the subject.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, like, believe me, though, like, in regards to, like, random people, even just, like, people I kind of know, the judgment is wild when it comes to you not going to school.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't really blame the people. It's not really their fault. It's more so the way society is structured as a whole. It's like, I don't know. It's like a whole nother topic you can go really deeply into about how it's not really the people's fault. It's more so just society as a whole. And it goes crazy deep because then it goes into like free thinking and make decisions on your own and question why you know certain knowledge or why you have certain values and beliefs. Like, why do you hold... I don't know, it's just like a whole another like bullshit thing, but yeah, it's like it's not really their fault. It's like it's I don't want to go into a whole nother tangent, but yeah, society is structured in a way, especially in our countries, where education is very highly valued, and if you don't have certain standards, it's like it's not that people won't like you, but they may think less of you or may not be as interested in you as a result. Like, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, I live in a very financially driven family who values money more than anything else, more than happiness, like bondness, anything. It's like it all comes down to how much value you have as a human when it comes to making money. So it's like that kind of stems into the whole reason why, but it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's not really people's individual fault, because I also think it's very difficult to kind of break out of the shell in terms of like what people want you to think and making your own decisions. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna shut up before I go into another tangent. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's definitely tough. I feel that.
Like, I don't know. Like, I get that point 100%. Like, I'll give you a quick story. It's as a perspective. One time at my serving job, this couple asked me if I was going. I was like, no, actually, I elected to not go to post-secondary. And they were like, really? And they started telling me about all the benefits, and I was like...
It's like, yep, I know. Yeah, I 100% know. It's
as
true.
If I haven't heard this like 50 million times.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah. No, that was... I remember that, dude. I remember left that trip being like, I get it. Like, I know they're just trying to be nice and like look out for
Yeah, they have your best interests at heart.
But it's also like you're just like,
yeah.
No, I just thought that was a funny little thing.
Like, I could think of somebody I actually met in real life, an acquaintance of my dad. Like, I met like literally less than a week ago, and all they were talking about, also maybe it's just a California thing and people just really like money, but like all she would talk about with me is like money and how like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, I stream and I make games, and she was like, oh yeah, you know, there's a lot of money in this industry and here and there, and all she wanted to talk about was like money, and it honestly, it made me fearful. I was like, holy fuck, I hope I never turn into somebody who like only cares about money and like only values that one thing, because like she was just going off, and it's like, holy shit, man, that's like not the only thing I care about. Or like, I don't know, I feel like it's scary because it's almost like you're driven sometimes to only care about values that society wants you to care about. Like, for example, like having a high paying job. It's like, I don't know, it's one of those things where if you don't go with the flow, it can be very punishing, and you could definitely be an outsider. I don't know, but I mean, I've accepted it. It's like, I understand the consequences of my actions and my philosophies and my decisions in life. It's like all good. It's like, I'm not going to make excuses. It's kind of similar to like Alieda's thing. It's like, it's definitely discriminating and it's bullshit and it's not fair, but I've made that decision. I've decided that, and like, I know that there are going to be hardships living this kind of life, but I've decided to commit to this, and like I accept the difficulties, and I'm going to do it anyways, you know? Also, funnily enough, the story I said about like meeting that girl at the anime convention who like lost interest in me because I wasn't going to college, that ended up being the reason why I got my first girlfriend, because I told her that story and like she was very empathetic, and the way I actually like met my first girlfriend was I asked her a question. I asked her, would you ever date a guy who doesn't have a college degree? And I told her I was wondering if there's any girl out there, because like this is when I was struggling a lot, when it just came to being turned down just because like not being in school or whatever. I was like, would you ever date a guy who doesn't have a college education? And I was like, I'm not asking you to date me, I just want to know if there exists a girl out there who like wouldn't mind that. And she ended up saying like, oh yeah, 100%. And then we later ended up talking more, yada yada yada. We realized we got along really well and we had a lot of similar philosophies, and and then we ended up getting together. So in a way it all came full circle, I guess, and it ended up working out unexpectedly.
Yeah, that's always a very interesting topic. I think like when you end up not going to uni or college, especially when like it's like an expectation. Like I remember when I had that conversation with my family. Luckily, I had a predecessor like my sister who had also ended up not going to school. Like she went for a semester and she dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily they were like, okay, well like our first child made it and like they're fine, so it's okay if you don't. So it's definitely a lot easier than I expected it to be. But fuck, was it scary.
Oh yeah, I see. Makes sense. For me, yeah, my parents weren't able to accept it, so I was homeless. Yeah. But I mean, it's fine. It's like, I never complain about that, by the way. I never get mad at, or I don't get mad at my parents too much, because I ended up growing so much because of it, and like, I learned how to live literally like completely independently on my own when I was like 18, and I could completely survive on my own, and I learned so many invaluable life lessons. I was also like a complete introvert. I still am an introvert, but like, I never knew how to talk with humans before that. And the thing is like, I learned so much how other people think, how other people work, how to talk with people, how to like be a good person. I learned like what charisma is, how to garnish or obtain it, and like I learned a lot about the way the world works. Basically, it's like it was one of the most difficult hardships in my life, but I grew infinitely more than I would have like staying at home, you know what I mean? So like that's why it's like I don't blame them. In a way, I'm almost thankful, because like I grew into a much like better person with a lot more experience, and I don't know, I matured a lot. Just so many things I learned, so it's all good. And they were able to realize that too. Like eventually, I think I've said before, I'm living with my dad right now. Eventually I was able to come home years later, like literally a few months ago, and sit down and have a conversation with my dad, and like he saw that I had grown since he kicked me out when I was like 17, 18, and he realized I was a completely new person, and I had learned a lot, and I had grown, and I had become respectful, responsible, gained all these traits, and like I was able to be independent, and he was accepting, and he could see I was a new person, and he allowed me to come back, and that's why I can live with him today. So like, yeah, it's all good. It ended up being a very enlightening experience.
I think that's one thing. Like, I think rants are very interesting. Okay, it is like 3 in the morning. Actually, I should probably.
It is.
I will talk to you tomorrow. Make sure, but if not, I will talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a later, man.
I'll see you, man. Have a nice night. Good night. See you well.
敵2体を捕捉。相手の先制だ。腕を試すにはちょうどいい相手だ。お願い。ここは腕を試すにはちょうどいい相手だ。よし、敵が倒した。今だ。一気に立つ。
Okay, chats. Nico was staying in the call for like a second, so I wasn't sure if he was gonna say something, but then I remembered Nico sometimes stays in calls even after he leaves. So yeah, I didn't just want to leave him be rude. Anyways, that was an interesting experience. I want to talk a bit about that because it has been a long time since like I've had a debate or discussion about like life or certain philosophies or like overcoming like bullshit and unfairness in life. And I don't really have too much to say. I just want to like conclude it, I guess. I used to have, it's interesting because I used to have these kinds of discussions all the time during quarantine. There was like a 2-year period where like I had these friends and we would like it was very nice, honestly, because it was the type of friend group where we weren't afraid to talk about any philosophies, no matter how like controversial a take may be, or like whatever X lifestyle. It's like we would always consider every part of every argument, and we were able to discuss and debate in a manner where there was nobody took anything personally. There wasn't really, I mean, sure, maybe once or twice, like maybe people got emotionally, but it happened very rarely, and we were all close enough to where we were able to respect each other and talk about anything freely, right? And it was a very nice experience. So yeah, basically, TLDR, I used to have debates and life discussions like this pretty much every night with a good group of people. So I'm very seasoned and used to talking about these topics, not just with my friends but family as well. I've talked a lot about this with family. So I very rarely take things personally or get emotional, and I'm always able to keep my mind clear. And yeah, but anyways, that was a good discussion. I think at the end of the day, it's like, sorry, there's like something on my lip. At the end of the day, I think there's certain realities that people don't really like there's certain topics that I think people are sensitive to and people don't like talking about, and that's why I generally back myself away from these discussions. Like usually I'm the one who will simply be on the sidelines listening, but I think somebody either asked me my opinion on something and then like I ended up just joining the discussion fully, or I said one thing and then I just slowly crept into this discussion until like I was saying all my opinions and all these things. But I don't think it's bad. It's just the reason why I don't like having these types of discussions unless it's someone I'm very close with is I think people can take things too personally or seriously, and I think sometimes it could, I don't want to say damage a friend group or a friendship, but I feel like if a certain friend or certain person isn't good at taking certain information or truths the right way, it's like they will feel very attacked and hostile or like very defensive, right? So I feel like you kind of have to be careful, and that's why I used to just like go willy-nilly, just talk about whatever XYZ topic, and I ended up losing a couple friends that way just because they kind of didn't like certain things or like hearing certain things even though they were true. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I just hope that all parties involved or whoever was listening ended up like not taking shit personally. I feel like everyone was mature enough to where it's like everything is fine, but I just feel like yeah, guys, I'm a very no bullshitty person. I'm a very big believer in every single thing. Fuck, dude, there's this fucking, like, piece of skin on my lip that was in the way, and I just finally got it. Anyways, I'm a big believer in no matter what it is in life, there's always going to be hardships, no matter what. There's always going to be shit that's unfair, discrimination, hate, bullying, you name it. It's the worst kinds of things. And it comes down to a goal and how much you want it and how much you're willing to endure. And if you want it badly enough and you're willing to endure those things, those hardships, right? And at the end of the day, Valorant is a game, and if you're just playing for fun, which I mean most people play video games for fun, so it makes perfect sense. It's like you don't want to deal with those things. It's like fine, you don't have to. Like it's perfectly fine, and obviously I won't think any less of you. But I think it can also be very beneficial and almost good practice. I mean, it kind of is good practice in a way if you're able to overcome those hardships or those weaknesses, those things you struggle with, and you're able to overcome them. I think it will help you grow a lot as a person. I mean, I could think of countless examples, like for example, moving out, right, living on my own. It just comes down to how badly you want the thing, and that's just how it is, right? It could be said about any type of goal, any type of success story in life. How badly do you want it? It could be applied to a fucking ranked game of Valorant. How hard are you willing to try to get that victory, right? Like let's say there's like a cheater on the enemy team or your team has a leaver. It's unfair. Yes. It shouldn't exist. Yes. It's dumb. Yes. But are you going to accept it? Like, or you have to accept it no matter what. Are you going to give up? Or do you want the thing bad enough to where you're willing to endure that bullshit? You know? It's just how I am. I'm a very harsh reality, cold truth kind of guy. I believe in overcoming obstacles, and no matter how dumb they are, it's just the kind of person I am. I know most people may not be quite as strong as that, and that's okay. It's like I won't think anything less of you. It's just how it is. Yeah. Okay. Done. Fun discussion with them. Not bad. And I talked about it earlier, but I really don't voice my opinions or like tell people. It's like a lot of times people will have that friend that will be like the no bullshit friend that will tell them like, no, you're just making excuses. And I used to be that kind of guy, but these days it's like I don't care enough to be able to be that friend who's like pushes their other ex-friend, because I think it could sometimes be harmful to friendships if they can't handle it. And honestly, I just don't think it's worth my time. So unless like it's somebody I care about or I've known for a long time, I will not tell them like the no bullshit rule, because it's just how it is. Yeah, been a while since I've had that kind of discussion. I don't know, chat. I'm just a hardcore guy. It's just how I am. It's just how I grew up, especially over these last few years. It's just the way I've been forced to live, just given my circumstances. And the way I've like obtained certain goals is just the way you gotta be, the kind of person you gotta be. That's all I really have to say. And it's fine. It's fine. The way I view it, it's like I'll never think of any person less for like not pursuing X thing because of X reason. But what I will say is my respect for X person will grow infinitely depending on like if they're able to pursue that thing. Not even if they reach the goal, but I will gain so much respect that person will gain so much of my respect even if they try and pursue the goal despite the bullshit. Like not even reaching the goal, but just the fact that they know the odds are stacked against them and they go for it anyways. It's like they will still get so much of my respect, right? So it's basically only something to gain when it comes to like me, right? It's like I won't think of you any less if you decide not to like overcome that weakness. However, if you do try to challenge that weakness and not even like overcoming it, but you just try, if you just try, I will have so much more respect for you. I just will. I will respect you a lot more as a person, as an individual, as someone who's not afraid to pursue challenges and overcome hardships. I'll think of you a lot greater than you were before. However, that's not to say I didn't think of you being great before. I didn't think of you as a good friend before. It's just how it is. Today's daily video, low-key chat, I uploaded at like 7 p.m. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I had like I have these days where it's just like depression days, where I literally feel like complete shit that I don't want to exist. And it's like, I'll hide away from existence, and the way I do that is I literally lie in bed all day, and I sleep, and if I can't sleep, I just lie there and like tell my brain continuously, like, don't think, don't think, don't think. Like, don't think about anything. I just want to break from it all. I just don't want to exist for a bit. And like sometimes I'm like so down in the dumps, that's pretty much what I think. And today was one of those days where like I woke up multiple times in the morning. I didn't want to get up. I just felt depressed and sad. And I sometimes, like, it could be something small. Sometimes I think I'm really strong, mentally will chat, but sometimes I think I'm weak, and like someone could say something small and random, or like especially when it comes to things my parents say. If my parents say something hurtful, sometimes I'll be sensitive to it, or it will like bug me for days, or like the next day. And sometimes I get in my head really bad in my own negative thoughts, and like it's just negative thought after negative thought, and it just fucking clouds me. And then I'm like stuck in a loop, or I'm stuck in a downward spiral of just like depression and hopelessness. What it pretty much comes down to is just two versions of me, okay? Low-key, two versions of me as a friend, chat. There's the two versions of me being a friend. The brutally honest, 100% real friend will tell you the harsh reality truth, even if you don't want to hear it. And then there's the version of me that I show 99% of the time, which is go along with whatever the person says, agree with them, don't really care, just agree with what they say, validate them, say that they're always right, and that's how I usually am. But sometimes whatever the circumstance is, whether it's like I feel like it's necessary or it's a good enough reason to, it's like I will be truthful and say the correct things, even if they're not quite what the person may want to hear, because I know that it's the truth and I know that it's right, even if it may not be what they want to hear. It's just how it is. Chat, I'm still thinking about the thing like I said I would, and I'm realizing now that one of the things that I really liked about my girlfriend was she wasn't afraid to tell me the truth, and she was able to push me, you know? I don't know if I could be in a relationship with someone who would like let me be delusional when I'm delusional, you know? I think the nice thing about the girlfriend I had was she pushed me to become a better person and like come out of my shell and like not make excuses. She was really good at that. And I think those are the kind of friends I like having the most too, are the type of friends who will like call you out on your bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like, I think those are the best kinds of friends, and I'm really lucky whenever I get to have those kinds of friends. But not everyone likes that. Some people just want people who will agree with them no matter what, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think those kinds of friends are the best, I just do. They're the ones who will make you grow as a person rather than do the opposite. Some people will like some friends will make you grow as a person, some friends will make you stay the same. The only bad kind of friends, I think, are the people who make you a worse person, a lazier person, right? But optimally, ideally, you have friends who only help you grow, right?